My friends, let me begin today with a truth that changed my life many years ago. Wealth, real wealth, is not a mystery. It's not magic, and it's certainly not luck. Wealth is a discipline. It's a way of thinking, a way of acting, a way of showing up in the world. You don't stumble into wealth, you grow into it. And what I want to share with you today are 7 habits, simple habits that anyone, anywhere on this planet can practice. These habits don't require genius. They don't require connections. They don't even require extraordinary talent. What they require is decision. You see, success leaves clues. And if you learn to follow the clues, you don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to rely on chance or hope or the stars aligning just right. That's not a strategy. Hope is a wonderful thing, but it is not a plan. You need a philosophy. And the moment your philosophy changes, everything changes. Because life doesn't get better by chance. Life gets better by change. And you are the one responsible for the change. Now, today we're talking about wealth. And let me be clear, wealth is more than money. Wealth is first a mindset, then a lifestyle, and then it becomes a financial reality. Money is a result. Wealth is a cause. And if you get the cause right, the result cannot help but follow. So don't ask, how do I make more money? The better question is, how do I become the kind of person who attracts more value into the marketplace? Because, my friend, you don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you bring to time. And before we dive into these 7 habits, let me warn you gently, habit number 4 is the one people ignore their entire lives. And it costs them a fortune. Not a small fortune, a lifetime fortune. But when you finally understand it, you'll see why some people rise and others remain stuck no matter how hard they work. So stay with me. We're going to uncover that one together. What I want from you today is simple. An open mind, a willingness to listen, and a decision to act. Not next year, not next month, but beginning today. Because if you wish to have more, you must first become more. And if you wish to become more, you must adopt the habits that move your life in the right direction. Small hinges swing big doors, and small habits build big wealth. So let's begin this journey. 7 habits that will shape your philosophy, sharpen your direction, and elevate the way you live, work, earn, and grow. Not overnight, but over time. Steady, deliberate, meaningful time. My friends, welcome to the path. Let's begin. My friends, let me begin this habit with one of the most important lessons I ever learned, one that shaped my entire financial life. Your income will rarely exceed your personal development. Now that's a sentence worth writing down. Because money doesn't respond to hopes or wishes or good intentions. Money responds to value, and value comes from what you become. I often tell people, if you want to have more, you must first become more. That's the foundation. Most people try to skip that part. They want a higher income, but they're not working on a higher skill. They want more opportunities, but they don't want more discipline. They want their life to change, but they don't want themselves to change. And that, my friend, is why many remain stuck. They're asking the soil for a harvest they never planted. Think of yourself like a container. A simple glass of water can only hold so much before it spills over. And many people are trying to pour a gallon of opportunity into a cup-sized mindset. It won't work. The cup must expand. The container must grow. You must grow. That's the first path to wealth. Not more money, more capacity. Let me share something practical. Skills pay. Discipline pays. Clarity pays. Communication pays. Decision-making pays. All of these increase your value in the marketplace. So the question isn't, how do I make more money? The better question is, how do I increase the value I bring? Because when you bring more value, the marketplace has a wonderful way of rewarding you. It can't help it. It's a law. And you don't have to make dramatic changes. 20 minutes of reading a day, my friend. Not 2 hours, 20 minutes. 1 good book a month. 1 course every season. 1 new skill every year. You'd be amazed how quickly the world opens its doors for someone who keeps upgrading their mind. Let me also give you a simple practice. Spend less time being entertained and more time being educated. Nothing wrong with entertainment. But when entertainment exceeds education, you end up with little to show for it except time gone and potential wasted. Turn some of that time into learning, and your future self will thank you for the rest of your life. Remember this. Wealth is attracted by the person you become. Not by what you wish for, not by what you pray for, not by what you wait for, but by what you build inside yourself. Become more disciplined, and you'll attract more opportunity. Become more skilled, and you'll attract more income. Become more intentional, and you'll attract a better life. Habits build character. Character builds value, and value builds wealth. That's the chain. That's the formula, and it all begins with you. So the first habit on the road to wealth is simple but profound. Outgrow your current income by outgrowing your current self. Expand your container. Increase your capacity. Study, practice, refine, improve. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. And then work every day on that wish. My friends, wealth begins not in your wallet, but in your philosophy. Now, my friends, let's move to a habit that sounds simple, so simple that most people overlook it their entire lives. Spend less than you earn and invest the difference. That's it. That's the whole habit. And yet this tiny principle is one of the greatest separators in the world. The people who follow it build wealth. The people who ignore it build excuses. Let me put it to you the way I learned it. It's not what you make that makes you wealthy, it's what you keep. I've met people who earn $10,000 a month and they're broke every 30 days. I've met others who earn a modest income, but somehow, year after year, they build a fortune. What's the difference? One understands the discipline of money. The other understands the desire for lifestyle. And desire, my friends, is expensive. Too expensive. The truth is, money behaves for people who behave. If you let your emotions operate your wallet, you will always stay one step behind. But if you let your discipline operate your wallet, your future will thank you 1,000 times over. Let me give you something very practical, something I've taught for decades. It's called the 70/30 rule. Live on 70% of your income. That's your rent, your food, your clothing, your comforts, your life, and then divide the remaining 30% into 3 parts. 10% for investing, 10% for saving, 10% for giving. Now, why give? Because giving opens the door for receiving. You can't receive with a closed hand. Why save? Because unexpected winters always come financial winters, economic winters, personal winters. Savings prepare you for storms. And why invest? Because money grows only if you plant it. If you spend all you earn, you are eating your seeds, and a person who eats all their seeds will never have an orchard. Some say, Jim, I'll invest when I earn more. No. You invest to earn more. Wealth is not built when income increases. It's built when discipline begins. The secret is automation. Make investing automatic, like brushing your teeth. Make it a non-negotiable. That way, your future is funded before your emotions have a chance to interfere. Buy assets, not liabilities. Let compounding become your silent partner. It works nights, weekends, and holidays. It doesn't call in sick, and it doesn't ask for time off. Now, here's something I want you to write down. The marketplace rewards discipline more than intelligence. You don't have to be brilliant to build wealth. You just have to be consistent. Spend less than you earn. Take the difference. Give it a job. Let it work for you. Let it grow. Don't let lifestyle outrun income. Don't fall into the trap of looking wealthy while staying broke. Some buy things they don't need, with money they don't have, to impress people they don't even like. That is not a wealth strategy. That's a stress strategy. Wealthy people live by design, not by impulse. And the first financial design is simple. Flow less money out and send more money forward. If you master this habit, you won't just have money eventually, you'll have choices. And choices, my friend, are the real luxury of life. My friends, let me share another principle that separates the wealthy from the worried. It's a habit that's not glamorous, not exciting, not flashy, but absolutely essential. And the habit is this: measure your money or lose your money. Now that may sound harsh, but it's true. Whatever you do not measure, you cannot improve. And whatever you ignore eventually controls you. Most people never track their finances. They spend, they guess, they hope, and at the end of the month they're surprised. And I always tell them, surprise is for birthdays, not bank accounts. If you want financial confidence, you must begin with financial clarity. The numbers must become your friends. Think of it this way. If a pilot flies a plane without instruments, we call that dangerous. If a driver speeds down the highway with their eyes closed, we call that reckless. But let someone go through life without tracking income, expenses, assets, and debt, and society calls that normal. My friend, it's not normal. It's risky. Very risky. Let me give you the simple rule. Money unmonitored will always disappear. Money measured will always multiply. Wealthy people treat their finances like a business. Not an accident, not a guess, but a system. They know exactly what comes in, what goes out, and where it all goes. They don't rely on memory. They rely on numbers. Numbers tell the truth, even when emotions don't. Let me give you a practical assignment. Every week, spend 15 minutes doing a money review. Just 15. Write down what you earned, what you spent, and what you invested. At the end of the month, do a bigger review. At the end of the year, do a full audit, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Awareness creates improvement. Clarity creates confidence. Measurement creates mastery. It's interesting, people say, I don't like looking at my finances, it stresses me out. But here's the irony. The stress comes from not looking. The monsters under the bed disappear once you turn on the light. Shine light on your finances. And suddenly the fear shrinks. Let me offer you a simple metaphor. Imagine your financial life as a garden. If you don't check on it, don't water it, don't pull the weeds, don't monitor its growth, what happens? The weeds take over. The soil dries out. The plants struggle. Not because the garden is bad, but because the gardener was absent. Money works the same way. Wealth needs a present gardener, not an absent dreamer. So take responsibility for the numbers. Track your spending, track your saving, track your net worth, track the habits that create wealth, because what you track improves and what you ignore declines. Remember this simple sentence. Financial mastery begins with financial awareness. If you measure it, you can control it. If you control it, you can improve it. If you improve it, you can multiply it. And that, my friend, is how wealth begins to grow. My friends, now we come to habit number 4, and this one is a surprise for most people. Because when we talk about wealth, everyone thinks first about money. But let me tell you something far more important. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. Once an hour is gone, it's gone forever. And if you waste enough hours, you will waste the life those hours were meant to build. Time is your most valuable asset. It's more precious than gold, more powerful than money, and more irreplaceable than opportunity. And yet, most people guard their money with great seriousness while letting anyone steal their time. Someone interrupts them, there goes an hour. Someone brings drama, there goes another. Someone invites them into gossip, argument, distraction, and before they know it, half their day has vanished. Not used, not invested, just gone. Let me put it to you plainly. Poor people waste time. The middle class trade time for money. Wealthy people multiply time. That's the real difference. Now you may ask, Jim, how do wealthy people multiply time? They do it by learning the art of leverage, delegation, automation, systems. They don't try to do everything themselves. They don't spend their best hours on their smallest tasks. They don't chase every demand from the world. They decide in advance what deserves their time and what does not. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine your time as rich, fertile soil. You only have so much of it. If you plant weeds in the soil, you lose the harvest. If you plant nothing, you lose the harvest. If you waste the soil on meaningless crops, you lose the harvest. But if you plant purpose, discipline, learning, building, creating, then, my friend, the soil produces something magnificent. Your time is the soil. Wealth is the harvest. Protect the soil. Most people aren't losing to lack of talent. They're losing to lack of focus. They're distracted. They're scattered. They let their attention be pulled by every notification, every message, every noise from the world. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. You cannot build wealth with a scattered mind. Wealth requires direction. Time requires protection. Let me give you some everyday examples of time leaks. Endless scrolling, drama-filled conversations, overthinking small decisions, trying to please everyone, doing tasks that should be delegated, saying yes when they should say no. Each of these costs far more than minutes. They cost momentum, and momentum is priceless. My friends, here is a sentence worth memorizing. Every time you say yes to something small, you say no to something great. Sometimes the difference between mediocrity and mastery comes down to who controls your hours, you or the world. A person who protects their time becomes unstoppable. A person who wastes it becomes exhausted. They feel busy, but they remain behind. Because busyness is not progress, activity is not accomplishment, and a full schedule is not a full life. So make a decision today. Guard your time like it's your greatest treasure, because it is. As long as you let your time be taken, your future will be taken with it. But the day you take ownership of your hours, that's the day your life begins to change. Protect your time, and you protect your destiny. It's one of the most powerful wealth habits you will ever build. My friends, let me now share a habit that has the power to change everything, not just your wealth, but your attitude, your standards, your decisions, your entire direction in life. And the habit is very simple. Associate with people who lift your thinking. You've heard me say it many times. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not the average of your intentions, the average of your associations. People are powerful. They rub off on you. Their energy shapes yours. Their habits influence your habits. Their philosophy gradually becomes your philosophy. And before you even realize it, you begin to walk like them, talk like them, think like them, decide like them. Human beings are not neutral. We are contagious. And the question is, what are you catching? If you spend your time with people who complain, soon you'll find things to complain about. If you spend your time with people who gossip, you'll soon run out of meaningful conversations. If you spend your time with people who have no plan, no discipline, no vision, your dreams won't survive in that environment. A seed cannot grow in concrete. But if you spend your time with people who are aiming higher, with people who are learning, with people who are building, with people who don't just talk success but live success, then your life begins to rise almost without effort. Why? Because environment is stronger than willpower. Let me share something I learned early in my life. Wealthy people don't just think differently, they speak differently. They speak in terms of purpose, value, opportunity, discipline, growth. They discuss ideas, not people. They reflect on the future, not the past. They talk solutions, not excuses. Spend enough time around those conversations, and your mindset expands. It can't help it. You see, a flower doesn't try to grow. It grows because it's planted in the right environment. The soil does the work, and the people you choose to associate with, that is your soil. Now, I know some people say, Jim, what if the people closest to me are negative? Here's my answer. Love them, but don't become them. You can care for people without copying their habits. You can support people without adopting their limitations. Your future is too important to be shaped by someone else's fears. Let me give you a practical way to upgrade your associations. You can change your circle in 3 ways. First, by spending more time with people who inspire you. Second, by spending less time with those who drain you. And third, by spending intentional time with people you've never met, authors, mentors, thinkers, through books, courses, lectures. A mentor you read is still a mentor. One good book can be a whole new circle. Remember this, proximity is power. You rise to the level of your environment, not the level of your desires. If you want to live at a higher altitude, you must walk with people who breathe that air naturally, so choose your associations wisely. They will either stretch your thinking or shrink it. They will either fuel your ambition or smother it. They will either elevate your standards or lower them. My friends, the company you keep determines the person you become, and the person you become determines the wealth you build. My friends, wealth has a very interesting rule, one that most people never learn. If you want to be wealthy, become a creator, not just a consumer. Now, this is a powerful idea, and I want you to think about it carefully, because the world is full of consumers. They consume entertainment, consume social media, consume trends, consume opinions, consume whatever the world offers. But the marketplace does not reward consumption. The marketplace rewards creation. Let me put it in simple Jim Rohn language. You cannot withdraw from an account you never deposited into. Consumption takes, creation gives, consumption empties, creation fills, consumption builds dependency, creation builds wealth. Most people live their entire lives on the receiving end of life, receiving news, receiving entertainment, receiving distractions, receiving everybody else's agenda. They scroll more than they study. They watch more than they act. They admire more than they build. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. Here's the truth. You don't become valuable by what you consume. You become valuable by what you produce. If you want more opportunity, create value. If you want more income, create solutions. If you want more influence, create insight. If you want a better future, create something today. Let me give you a simple example. A person who only scrolls through social media is a consumer. But a person who creates content, ideas, lessons, experiences, that person begins to build an audience, a brand, an income. A person who buys products is a consumer. But a person who creates products, physical or digital, begins to build leverage. A person who watches the marketplace is a consumer. But a person who contributes to the marketplace becomes a partner with it. The difference is remarkable. One path drains your time. The other multiplies it. One path makes you dependent on others. The other makes others depend on you. One path leads to struggle. The other leads to opportunity. You don't have to create something huge. Start by creating something small. Write an article. Record a thought. Teach a lesson. Build a skill. Solve a problem. Offer a service. Add value somewhere. The habit of creation is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And soon your mind begins to work differently. Instead of asking, what can I get? You start asking, what can I make? Instead of asking, what can I buy? You ask, what can I build? Instead of saying, I hope someone creates something I enjoy, you say, let me create something someone else enjoys. That shift, my friend, that shift is where wealth begins. Let me give you a little metaphor. Consumers are like leaves. They blow with the wind, follow trends, move whichever direction the world pushes them. But creators are like roots, firm, grounded, valuable. Everything grows from them. The world depends on the creators, not the other way around. And one last idea. Creation puts you on the offense. Consumption keeps you on the defense. Wealth is built by people who play offense. So make this a habit. Every day, create something that wasn't there yesterday. Something small, something meaningful, something that expresses your value. Because when you become a creator, your opportunities expand, your confidence grows, your income rises, and your life begins to change from the inside out. My friends, consumers fill the world. Creators change it. My friends, now we arrive at habit number 7, one of the most powerful habits in all of success. This is the habit that keeps the fire burning when motivation cools. It keeps discipline alive when emotions fade. And that habit is simple. Live with purpose. Because purpose pays. Let me tell you something important. People who drift through life rarely build wealth. Why? Because drifting has no direction. Drifting has no strategy. Drifting has no discipline. But people who know why they wake up in the morning, those people walk with energy, clarity, and conviction. Purpose gives effort meaning. Purpose gives struggle value. Purpose gives discipline strength. Without purpose, everything feels heavy. But with purpose, even the difficult becomes doable. Even the painful becomes purposeful. I often say, people without purpose seek distraction. People with purpose seek progress. And the difference between those two paths is the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one. Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever noticed that when someone truly cares about something, truly feels called toward it, they don't need reminders, they don't need motivation, they don't need someone behind them pushing. They push themselves. Why? Because purpose becomes the internal engine that moves their life forward. Purpose whispers, get up. Purpose whispers, keep going. Purpose whispers, you're not done yet. And that whisper is often louder than the noise of excuses, distractions, or doubt. Now you may wonder, Jim, how do I find my purpose? The answer is, you don't find it. You decide it. Purpose is not waiting behind a tree or hiding under your bed. Purpose is a choice, a direction, a decision to aim your life at something meaningful, something that matters to you, something that makes you better, something that contributes to the world. Purpose gives color to the gray moments, strength to the weak moments, and direction to the confusing ones. People who lose their purpose often lose their energy. People who reconnect to their purpose often reconnect to their potential. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a ship with no map, no compass, no destination. The wind blows and the ship moves, but it moves nowhere meaningful. It goes wherever the wind takes it. Now imagine a ship with a destination, a clear map, a clear direction. The same wind blows, but now the wind becomes an ally, not an enemy. Purpose is your map. Life is your ocean. And the winds of circumstance blow for everyone. Let me share another thought. Your purpose determines your priorities. People without purpose waste hours. People with purpose invest hours. People without purpose chase comfort. People with purpose chase growth. People without purpose seek amusement. People with purpose seek alignment. And when your decisions align with your purpose, your life moves with remarkable speed. Here's a practical habit for this week. Every morning, ask yourself one question. What's driving me today? If your answer inspires you, you're on the right path. If it doesn't, you know it's time to adjust your direction. Remember this, my friend. Money can make you comfortable, but purpose makes you powerful. And when you combine purpose with discipline, productivity, and the habits we've discussed today, success is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you grow into. So live with purpose. Walk with intention. And let your days be guided by the vision of the person you choose to become. Because purpose pays, and it pays in every currency that matters. My friends, as we bring this session to a close, let me leave you with a simple truth, one that has guided my entire journey. Wealth is built by habit, not hope. Hope is a wonderful thing. It keeps the heart alive. But hope alone won't build a career, won't grow an investment, won't create a future. Habits will. The right habits practiced daily, consistently, intentionally. Those are the quiet builders of fortune, character, opportunity, and freedom. Let's quickly reflect on what we've covered. 7 habits, not theories, not wishes, habits. Habits that shape your philosophy. And your philosophy, my friend, shapes your life. Habit 1 taught us that you must outgrow your income by outgrowing yourself, because you cannot earn more than your capacity. Habit 2 reminded us that wealth isn't about what you earn, it's about what you keep and invest. Discipline builds fortune. Habit 3 showed us the power of measurement. Money must be watched or it vanishes. Habit 4 revealed the greatest hidden asset of all your time. Protect it, guard it, honor it. Habit 5 taught us that people are contagious and you become who you associate with. Choose wisely. Habit 6 reminded you to move from consumption to creation. The world rewards creators, always has, always will. And habit 7 tied it all together with purpose. When you know your why, everything else becomes clear. Purpose gives power to discipline, meaning to effort, and direction to your days. These habits are not difficult. They're simple. The hard part is doing them daily. But remember this, you don't have to change your life overnight. You only need to change your direction tonight, because the moment you change direction, the future begins to rearrange itself. A small change today becomes a big difference 5 years from now. The seeds you plant now become the shade you rest under later. Let me leave you with one more thought, one that I hope stays with you for years. You cannot hire someone to do your push-ups for you. Your wealth, your growth, your transformation. These are personal responsibilities. And the good news is, you are capable, you are worthy, and you are entirely able to build a life far better than the one behind you. Success is not one big decision. It is thousands of small ones. It is showing up even when it's inconvenient. It is keeping promises to yourself. It is doing the right thing when no one is watching. It is becoming just a little better each day. So, my friends, as you leave this lesson, start one habit, just one. Practice it today, practice it tomorrow. Let it compound, let it grow. And soon you'll notice that your actions begin shaping your identity begins shaping your results, and your results begin shaping your destiny. The true reward of this journey is not the wealth you accumulate, but the person you become in the process, a person of discipline, a person of purpose, a person of character, a person who lives intentionally, thinks clearly, and walks confidently toward the life they've chosen. My friends, may these habits guide you, strengthen you, and elevate you. Because wealth is not just about money, it is about becoming. Thank you. And welcome to the next chapter of your life.